There's two niggas I felt like backdoored me. I swear to God. And I never swear. See, I just did some shit I won't really never do. Lil Baby and that nigga Tyler. Tyler for sure. For sure. And I'm gonna show you how this kind of whatever. This baby, if you want to fight, I still get in with you. What's poppin'? Because I ain't gonna lie, the disrespect that I'm about to go up off of this, I control this rap game.
These internet personalities really think they can say whatever they want online without facing real-world problems, huh? Yesterday proved DJ Akademiks wrong when one of Lil Baby's people ran up on him and handled business. You won't believe how they managed to get around his security. That plan was genius. Let me break down the whole sequence of events. Explain why Lil Baby really orchestrated this against someone with such a massive platform in hip-hop, and show you the sketchy industry dynamics that usually stay hidden. Before we get into all the madness though, you gotta understand Akademiks' position in this game and why this incident goes way deeper than a simple confrontation. This dude turned sitting at his computer into a full-blown empire, streaming drunk every single night while going completely off the rails talking about rappers. Here's the thing that sets him apart from typical bloggers and YouTubers. His word actually carries weight in the industry. We're talking about someone with serious clout, not just another small-time creator. His whole career revolves around stirring up drama, and honestly, the formula's been paying off. Nobody influences hip-hop conversation quite like Akademiks does. The culture hangs on his every word. Millions tune in daily to hear his takes, and he's got the power to shift how people view an artist's entire career just like that. That's no exaggeration either. Multiple times we've watched his negative coverage directly mess with an artist's sales numbers, streams, and how the public views them. Now here's where things get wild. Akademiks really believe he had full immunity sitting behind that computer screen. In his mind, staying locked in his studio with security around meant he could run his mouth about anyone without catching any smoke in real life. Reality checked him real quick though. The revenge plot that went down? Easily one of the most thought-out moves I've witnessed in hip-hop culture. Let me explain how this whole conflict actually kicked off, because there's layers to this that most people don't know about. Getting the full backstory is key to understanding why Lil Baby felt this was necessary. Go back to 2020. Baby was absolutely dominating the entire music scene. No arguments, that's just facts. Hit records kept coming one after another. Everything he touched went viral instantly. From the oldest to the youngest, everybody had his tracks on repeat. He was living his peak moment, moving millions of units, earning Grammy recognition, working with the industry's elite artists. Akademiks, being the sharp media observer he is, picked up on something the fans were missing while riding the hype wave. Get this though, Akademiks actually started out trying to support Baby's career. The negativity didn't come first. Akademiks was putting it out there like, look, Baby got his bag. He's got everything now. The whips, the cribs, all the ice. But the music? It feels like he stopped caring about that. And honestly, if you're being real about it, there was some truth there. Stack Baby's latest releases next to what he was doing in 2020, and the difference in drive, emotion, and that special intensity is obvious. He hit the top and seemed to settle in, which is pretty common once artists blow up that big. The issue came when Akademiks stopped keeping it constructive and went too far with it. He started running with this whole story that Baby was completely done, washed, past his prime. When Akademiks runs with something like that, it doesn't just live on his channel. That spreads through the entire culture like crazy. Other media outlets jumped on it. Fans began doubting Baby's standing. Next thing you know, this became the main talking point surrounding his whole career. That's what controlling the conversation does. One voice can shape everyone's perception when it gets pushed consistently and aggressively. That's exactly what went down with Baby's Wham album. From the announcement, Akademiks stayed on it negatively, kept calling it average, kept stacking it against his earlier successful projects, kept questioning if he still had that spark and drive that originally made him stand out. What ended up happening? The album didn't hit commercially like it should have. Real talk, Akademiks' constant negative press definitely contributed to that project falling short of its potential in sales and streams. We're discussing serious influence here. The power to shape how millions perceive an artist's output before they even press play themselves. But hold up, it gets wilder. Baby wasn't about to just accept the disrespect silently. He started clapping back. When rappers address bloggers directly in their tracks, you know things have reached another level entirely. Baby was spitting lines about Akademiks not having his money, about how he could be touched. He was calling him out in his music for everyone to hear, making it known there was real tension. These weren't casual mentions either. Baby devoted full verses to responding to the criticism, showing this was more than just a small irritation. It was impacting his career and money. That's when the story shifts and reveals how things really operate in the industry behind closed doors. Rod Wave, being genuine and level-headed, decided to intervene before things spiraled completely. Rod Wave stepping in made sense. He had actual connections with both sides and saw how damaging this conflict was getting for everybody. He set up a three-way call with himself, Akademiks, and Baby to squash the beef like adults. From what both said publicly, they actually settled things, had an honest discussion about the problems, heard each other out, swapped contact info, and promised to keep any future issues private rather than public. Looked like a grown resolution to what could have been an endless, destructive war. Both benefited from this. Akademiks could keep working without ongoing beef with a major artist. Baby could concentrate on music without constant negative press from one of hip-hop's biggest media voices. Baby and his camp knew exactly how much reach and impact Akademiks' platform had. So when Baby was getting ready to release his next big project, what went down? He actually dropped $30,000 on Akademiks to make sure he wouldn't trash the new album. Everything looked solid between them after this deal, yeah? Not even close. What came next was some of the most calculated, sneaky, backstabbing moves I've witnessed in hip-hop. The execution showed planning that's honestly remarkable in the most ruthless way imaginable. The location was a brand rescue event in March 2025. This detail matters because it proves this wasn't some coincidental run-in. This was a coordinated setup that needed insider info on Akademiks' location and schedule. Akademiks was there handling his typical coverage, protected by his security crew, feeling totally secure in what should have been a professional space. But Baby's assistant, this dude K-Rich, had been scheming the whole time. The strategy they developed was honestly brilliant in the most cold-blooded way. Here's where it gets really wild though. The scheme involved using streamer Ty Lil as someone who had no clue what was happening, and how they worked the situation shows serious calculated planning. Earlier that day, at the same brand rescue event, Ty Lil had stepped to Akademiks about some old issues. Ty Lil was pressed because way back in 2020 during lockdown when everybody was making online content, Akademiks had used some of Ty Lil's footage without giving him proper credit.
What is Ty Lil pulling up on me to argue about? Ak, you never tagged me in 2020. We're in 2025. You see Aiden.
He ain't.
We dap it up.
Hey, Ty Lil.
I know. I'm like, I can try to play for you.
It's alright. I got you.
He's mad passionate.
Might sound like small stuff, but for creators grinding to build their name, getting tagged and credited properly can be what separates staying invisible from breaking through. Ty Lil brought this up to Akademiks, and they had a full discussion about it. Akademiks, showing his professional side when he's not online, actually heard Ty Lil out, admitted he probably should have credited him, right? And they ended up trading numbers and apparently squashing the whole thing.
He's constantly saying, why you ain't tagged me? He's talking about some shit in 2020. Yo, Aiden says, yo, why you bringing this shit up? And I'm trying to tell him, yo, Tyler, you made it, bro, relax. But he keeps saying it, and I'm like, it's all good, whatever. What we do at the end of this, and this is important, me and Tyler exchange numbers. We exchange numbers. This is gonna mean the utmost chat when I get to the end of the story.
That whole interaction became critical for what went down next because it positioned Ty Lil as someone with real reasons to talk to Akademiks, someone security would see as just another creator instead of any kind of danger. It also set up the perfect situation for K-Rich's scheme. Ty Lil gets through all 8 of Akademiks' security people because they know his face and figure his approach is legit. He walks straight to Akademiks' car window and kicks off what looks like a chill conversation, making Akademiks believe everything's normal and this is just typical industry talk. Here's the crazy part though. While Ty Lil's got Akademiks distracted and feeling comfortable, K-Rich is moving in right behind him. Security spots K-Rich walking with Ty Lil and naturally assumes he's good too since he's rolling with the streamer they already cleared. Nobody second guesses it because Ty Lil being there basically vouched for K-Rich without Ty Lil needing to say a word. This is where things get really cold. Akademiks, feeling totally secure since he thinks he's just chopping it up with another content creator, rolls his car window completely down. He's laid back, probably expecting some quick chat about maybe working together or finishing up their conversation from earlier. Then, in what was obviously planned out, Ty Lil suddenly backs away from the window, and that's K-Rich's cue. Dude steps right up and smacks DJ Akademiks clean across the face with what Akademiks later called a right-handed slap before immediately bolting.
He swings, misses, cause like I was kind of like this. He swings into the car, misses, like he hits the shit. They drive off. I'm like, what the f?
I swear to God, right-handed God. I smacked the shot out of you. I smacked the shot out of you. Right-handed God, bro. I smacked the shot out of you.
You smack Akademiks.
Yes, and then listen. After I smacked him, listen.
Here's what makes Tylil's role even more suspicious though. Akademiks blew up Tylil's phone that night trying to reach him. We're talking 15 straight calls back to back, but Tylil ghosted completely. Didn't pick up, didn't return any calls, didn't shoot a single text trying to explain the situation or say he had no idea K. Rich was planning on doing that.
I call Tylil. Yo, Tyler, I'm trying to say, yo, Tyler, what is this? What's up? You try to, I thought we talked, like, you got a problem? Tyler doesn't answer none of my calls.
That's the moment Akademiks understood he'd been played by someone he assumed was just another creator looking to connect and settle old drama. Swapping numbers earlier wasn't about making peace at all. It was setting up the access that would get used against him. Later on, Akademiks' crew rolled back to the club trying to track down K. Rich and figure out what really happened. When they pulled up again, his security caught K. Rich posted up in a Lamborghini Urus right next to Tylil, which proved this wasn't some random situation. These two were obviously linked up and had orchestrated the entire setup together.
I pop the car and go see who the dude who swung at us, who he's with. He calls me, yo, he's in a Lambo with Tylil. I was just in an argument with Tylil at Brand Risk. He said, you want me to do something? I said, don't do nothing. Come back in the car. He gets back in the car. I said, I'll handle it.
When Akademiks went live the following day, he was completely losing it. I'm talking a level of rage and emotion we barely ever see from him, even though dude's known for wild reactions. He was furious as hell, calling Lil Baby out by name, swearing he'd destroy his whole career, and making it crystal clear he wasn't letting this go.
Lil Baby, eat it. Because I don't know this. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm getting that Lil Baby, because I've been waiting for this. I can't take it out on I don't know. I'm up tens of millions of dollars taking it out on his boss.
Things got even crazier though. Akademiks actually got Baby on the phone directly to confront him about the whole incident. Baby's response was so slick and thought out, it almost felt scripted. He handled it flawlessly, acting totally clueless about what Akademiks was even talking about. Baby was straight up gaslighting him, playing innocent like he had zero involvement in setting the whole thing up.
I felt like backdoored me. I swear to God. And I never swear. See, I just did some shit I don't really never do. Lil Baby and that Tyler. Tyler for sure. For sure. Because I ain't gonna lie, the disrespect that I'm about to go up off of this, I don't know him. But I control this rap game.
The wild part? That was actually a clever, legally safe move because Akademiks can't really prove Baby orchestrated it, even though everyone on the streets knows the truth. Akademiks started connecting more dots though, and what came together pointed to something way more planned out than it first seemed. Look at the timing, the level of coordination, the insider info required. This wasn't some heat-of-the-moment situation. This was a full-blown, calculated setup. Break down the brand rescue event first. How'd K-Rich even know Akademiks would be posted there? How'd he figure out exactly when? He'd be rolling out? How'd he sync up with Tylil to catch him at the perfect moment? That takes serious advanced planning and access to Akademiks' whereabouts and schedule. Then you got the Tylil situation that gets shadier the deeper you look. That whole exchange between him and Akademiks earlier about not getting tagged back in 2020, was that legit beef or just a play to create the opening they'd exploit later? The timing's way too perfect to be random chance. Here's what really sealed it for Akademiks that this came from the top. The following night, Akademiks was out at a different club in Miami with Trippie Redd. They were living it up, making it rain, vibing out, when somebody pulled up saying Baby was about to walk in that same spot. That's when Baby's moves got real suspicious. Baby stepped into the club, clocked that Akademiks was there, and bounced immediately. Didn't hit his VIP area, didn't stick around even for a minute. Soon as he spotted Akademiks in the building, he was out. Why would Baby dip if he wasn't connected to what went down the previous night? If he really had nothing to do with K-Rich's move, why not just post up and enjoy his night like usual? Him leaving the second he saw Akademiks proves he knew things would get heated and wanted no parts of that confrontation. But there's even more layers to this. Akademiks pieced together how this whole thing connects to bigger industry power plays and behind-the-scenes politics most people never witness. That $30,000 Baby's crew paid Akademiks? That wasn't just about protecting one album rollout. It was a piece of a bigger game plan to shape how the media covered Baby's whole career trajectory.
Lil Baby's team gave me $30,000 for that last album that dropped, and I had to really be neutral and be nice.
When Akademiks dug into the business angle of all this, he figured out that major labels and artists constantly pay bloggers and media figures for positive press. But they'll also engineer situations to undermine or scare media personalities who get too critical or too influential. Think about the logic here. If you can't control a media figure through money and business deals, what's the next play? Make them think twice through intimidation. And what sends a stronger message than getting them physically violated in a way that proves their protection isn't what they thought it was? When you really analyze what went down, you gotta respect the strategic planning of this whole thing. Even if you're against the approach, this wasn't some emotional, hot-headed reaction. This was methodical, calculated payback that hit multiple targets simultaneously. For one, it told Akademiks straight up that his online commentary has real-life repercussions. For years, he'd been going off about rappers, feeling safe behind his security and his media status, thinking that shielded him from any physical blowback. This shattered that illusion and showed him he's not bulletproof. 2. It proved to the whole hip-hop world that Baby won't just absorb disrespect, even from influential media figure, in a scene where reputation and respect mean everything. This elevated Baby's street status and demonstrated he'll take chances to protect his name. 3. And this is the smartest angle. Baby got his revenge while keeping himself legally distanced from it. He never gave explicit orders, never directly instructed K-Rich to make any specific moves. He simply didn't inform his circle that the tension was squashed. That's some advanced strategic thinking right there. Keeping his involvement technically unproven while still getting the result he wanted, Baby safeguarded himself legally while accomplishing his objective of hitting back at Akademiks. That's the type of calculated approach you see from top-tier business executives and political operatives. Reaching your goals through indirect channels that can't be definitively linked to you. What makes it even more tactically impressive? Using Tylil as someone who didn't know the real plan was genius. By bringing in someone from Akademiks' sphere, someone with valid reasons to approach him, they manufactured the perfect opportunity for K-Rich to close the distance and strike. Akademiks' biggest tool has always been his platform and narrative control, so his counter was threatening to leverage that power to tank Baby's career. He went even harder on Baby after this, attacking everything from his music to his business moves to his private life. But check this out, the incident actually damaged Akademiks' standing in certain ways. Before it happened, he could position himself as this unreachable media powerhouse who could speak freely without facing consequences. Now everybody knows he's vulnerable, his security has gaps, and there are artists ready to take physical action against him. For Baby, this play was dangerous, but could pay off big. He demonstrated to the hip-hop world he's not to be tested, but he also made himself a focus for law enforcement and potentially other media figures who might view him as dangerous. If this whole wild situation taught you something, hit that like button and drop in the comments what you think about Baby's approach. Was it warranted, or did he cross the line?